people now.
Yay.
And what I'm going to do is share screen so that your introduction just shows for a minute, because that's on the recording then.
Right, cool.
And that's at purebei.com, purebei.com. So you can find out all about Martine on purebei.com.
Look at that. Yay, thank you.
So yeah, Alice Heath is a friend of yours and a friend of mine. And Alice suggested that I come over and see you in Wimborne on Thursday. And so I did. I had to be, well, yeah, I had to be there for 8 o'clock and like left at 7 in the morning. But it was a really good time. If I'd been coming the other way towards Southampton, it might not have been so enjoyable.
Yeah, it was a bit early, wasn't it?
It was great because Alice come out and met me opposite the model village and then took me around to where you are. So when I was younger, I sort of half grew up in Ferndown. So we'd go to Wimborne a lot, but I haven't been there for years.
Wow, well, West Farley, yeah. When I was a child, I grew up there about 10, I think 10 years old, I moved to the area, yeah. So I know the area really well, actually. But I haven't been back here for many years. But yeah, this is the first time I'm back in the area again. I've been away for some time.
Oh, you told me this amazing story about how you found the place that you're working at now. But anyway, would you like to share some of your story and how you've come to be doing what you do? And
oh my gosh, okay. Well, where do I start? I've got to know where to start.
well, everything you told me on Thursday was just so fascinating. How long you've been to China and yeah.
Okay, so I think the journey began with me studying martial arts. I began as a performer. I started off as an actress, and that's how I kind of studied people. And then I moved to London and became a performer. And then whilst I was doing martial arts at the time, but just as like a hobby and on the side, and I really enjoyed doing that physical work with my body. And then when I was living in London, I came across the warrior monks. They'd come to China for the first time, and this is in Tufnell Park. And I came across a sign, and it said, if you want hard work, then come this way. And I was like, maybe I do want hard work. That sounds good.
Maybe you would have followed that, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. And so that was kind of the start of my journey, martial arts journey. And I started doing Sanda, which was full contact Chinese kickboxing. And after studying that for many years and meeting many different masters, I did all kinds of different trainings. My life kind of separated. So I kind of didn't really want to pursue acting anymore. My life kind of delved into this world of Chinese training and philosophy, and I did a lot of meditation and a lot of different Qi Gongs and the martial arts, and it kind of grew from there. And then it naturally kind of developed into wanting to go on to study medicine. And so many years later, this is kind of like the short story. It's quite a long journey. It's like 27 years.
Hey.
Yeah, I went to China, and I moved back home to Bournemouth, where I was living, and then decided to, after so many years of studying martial arts, decided to move into medicine. And there were many different triggers for that journey. One was my health, and one was the health of my loved ones around me, and wanting to be able to do more for them and more for people in general. My life kind of changed and shifted. I think when you go through a big transition in your life or a big learning lesson in your life, your mind and your body changes, and you kind of want to do more for the world and people around you. So I wanted then to go into the healing arts. And then I went and studied at Reading in Kickham, which is a 5-element training course. traditional Chinese medicine, and I wanted to do the 5 elements because I feel very close to nature, and it's something that resonated very deeply within me, and because of my background of studying people and different characters and all the emotions.
Oh, it's froze again, Martine. Oh no, you're back.
Am I back? Hello. I was saying I'm quite a feely person. So that kind of system is a very old traditional system of Chinese medicine that works on the emotions, and the deep kind of psychological processes of a person, why people do the things they do. And that really interested me, and mental health and things like that. So that's why I chose to kind of go into that sort of field, and why I chose 5 elements. There's lots of different styles of acupuncture. There's stems and branches, and there's Tori-Ahari and Japanese acupuncture, Korean acupuncture. There's so many different forms, and they're all amazing. They all are amazing. But I was drawn very much to that sort of very traditional style. My martial arts is very old, very traditional. So kind of wanted to follow that as well, that kind of path, traditional path. Kind of lost what the question is, but yeah, and then the journey, and then I qualified and went on to study pediatrics, and after I qualified, during that time I met a very special teacher, and I decided that once I'd qualified, then I would then follow the path of the Shaolin warrior path, and I went to China. I was a qualified acupuncturist, and I was practicing acupuncture, and then I went to China to further my martial arts, and decide whether I wanted to take a discipleship, because that's a really big commitment, because it's a lifelong commitment to a way of life, and it's a challenging path. So don't know whether you know Shaolin Kung Fu at all, if you've ever come across that at all.
Really, no. But that's what you've done.
Yeah, so I went to China. I went to the Shaolin Temple in China. It's like a really big temple, and it's the birthplace of all martial arts in the world. And the history dates back from 2,500 years old. So you have a monastery that sits on a small hill. Shaolin, Shao means small, and Lin means forest in Chinese. And so it's this very small temple in the middle of a forest. And you have the monks who live in the temple, and they pray and they practice Chan Buddhism. And then you have warrior monks who protect the temple. This is in history.
Lovely. She's froze again. Oh, it was only
Am I back?
Yeah, it was only for a second. So what I came along and saw you for was acupuncture.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I got a bit of a fear of needles. If I had a fear of anything, I suppose it'd be needles. Although I've done a self-hypnosis weekend where I actually threaded a needle through my skin and saw myself doing it, and still did it.
Oh, amazing. That's amazing.
And it was amazing. It was an amazing, like I walked into an arrow and broke it in half, and into
yeah,
that sort of thing, and
yeah.
got the wood in half. Quite incredible, yeah. So it is an amazing thing that you can't, how powerful the body is, things
How
that you
powerful your mind is. This is
yeah.
your mind. Shaolin and all these different arts are all to do with the power of your mind and your heart-mind connection. When you practice Chan, you learn how to harness that energy and how to use it. And we use it in acupuncture. So you can use it to fight, and you can use it to heal. It's beautiful.
What was fascinating when I saw you on Thursday, you looked at my tongue and took my pulse, was really all you had to do to know where to put the needles.
Yeah, so when you come to see like a practitioner, they will, well, it depends on who you go to see, but when you come to see me, I would do a traditional diagnosis. So that means we would sit down and we would go through all the systems in your body. So we would look at your sleep, your digestion, your waterworks, your everything. There's 12 major systems. And then once we'd gone through that, like we did together, I would do some other traditional diagnostics, like look at your tongue. And I'd say, can you stick your tongue out, please? And I have a little look at your tongue. There's so many things that you can read on a person's tongue. It's like a whole art form. And then you would take the pulses, and I'd put my fingers on the pulse, and I'd feel all the different positions. So I'd feel on one side, all the different organs on one side of your body, and then all the different organs on the other. And it'd be all about kind of feeling very deeply into the body and feeling where the imbalances are. So where they are in your organs, where they are in your blood, at what level. Sometimes when people come to see me, they come for different reasons. So sometimes they'll come because they have a physical ailment, maybe like a chronic condition. They might have a lung condition, or they might have a stomach complaint, or they might have headaches, or a skin complaint, or there are so many different things people come to see me for. Pain in their body, it's like musculoskeletal, which I actually see quite rarely. Or they might have something that they're struggling with mentally and emotionally, because acupuncture and all these different types of holistic medicines, and they treat the whole body, they balance the whole body, and your body, mind, and your spirit, they are all connected together. So when you're treating the physical body, you're also treating the spiritual and the emotional body as well at the same time. So actually somebody will come to see me for a physical complaint, but they don't realize that actually I'm helping them on a mental and emotional level as well. So yeah, so you'll come, when you come, I look at your tongue, I take your pulses, and I try to get an overview of everything about you as a person. And then I listen very deeply to who you are as a person, to try and understand your constitution, because your constitution is like the root of who you are as a person. And if I can feel into that, and if I know that, then I can treat you at that level. And at that level, things very deeply start to change in your body. So it's called treating the root. So you've got branches that come out, which might be physical manifestations of your illness or your condition. And then they come from very deep, a deep kind of place where it originated from. And so we treat the physical body, but we also treat the root of who you are. And that's within the 5 element system. Yeah. So in the pulses, that's more physical. So that's me feeling into your organs, and like your heart, your liver, your kidney. Or on the other side, your lungs, your stomach, pericardium, triple burner. These some organs are not in Western concepts. They're more sort of Chinese medicine concepts. And then the state of your blood, what your blood is like and what your energy level is like. So sometimes people say to me, oh yeah, I've been eating really healthily. I eat, you know, I eat really regularly, and then I say, can you just can I have a little look at your tongue, please? And they they open their tongue, and I'm like, oh gosh, maybe not eating as regularly as you should do. gives me all indications of what's going on in the body. It clearly tells me what's happening. So the tongue is a little bit like reflexology. You know, reflexology, you have all the organs on your feet. Yeah. Reflexology is really popular in the West. You know, people they're really familiar with that, with reflex. But your tongue is exactly the same. So on your tongue, you have various different organs, and the thickness of the tongue, and if it's swollen, it tells me something, and the color of the tongue tells me something else, and the sublinguals, which were underneath, they tell me something about the state of your blood. And so that's all information, and the information is coming through me, and it kind of, in my brain, it kind of settles in a space, and it tells me where the issues are. You know, are they in the heart? Are they in the liver? Are they in the kidney? Are they in the stomach? Are they in the spleen? Now, where they are now.
I didn't ask a lot of questions. I just stuck my tongue out and let you ask a lot of, but that's,
and I don't say it. Normally I just say, can you just stick your tongue out, please?
yeah.
And then I go, wow, okay, that tells me everything. Well, it gives me information. But the really important thing is, I mean, that tells me the physical state of your body right now. Your pulses tell me the physical state of your body right now, but it didn't tell me where it came from and where the original root is. The original root is in the 5 elements. So it's me understanding the person very deeply at an emotional level. And so for me to be able to do that, then I have to be able to connect with the person, explore the different emotional energies that person is, whether the qi, the energy inside the person's body can flow smoothly when I ask those questions or not. And then it will tell me which element they are. I look at the color on the face. So the color here will tell me what element they are. The sound of the voice will tell me what element they are. And the emotions that they can or cannot express will tell me what element they are. And the smell. I smell you.
That was one of my things. I couldn't taste or smell very well.
Yeah, and usually
I wouldn't be able to do what you do.
Yeah, you do have to switch all your senses on. Sometimes, you know, sometimes some people that I see, they can't give me all the information. Some people, they can't speak. So I see quite a few patients who've really chronic conditions. They have like Parkinson's, and they're disabled and they can't communicate, or they can't show me certain things. So I need as many different tools as possible to get the information. So sometimes if I take the pulse, the person is like on a medication that prevents me from reading the pulse. They're on a heart regulation medication, which is regulating their heartbeat. And some kind of medications, they change the way I feel the pulse. It doesn't give me a clear reading. So that's one diagnosis. Oh, wow, I can't use this now. I have to use something else. Okay, so stick your tongue out. And then they tell me, oh, I've just scraped all my tongue first thing in the morning before I came. I say, oh, damn it. I can't read your tongue now because I can't see what the coating is. Or maybe they can't open their mouth, like little children. They don't want to open their mouth. Can I see your tongue? I'm not opening my mouth. I don't want to open my mouth, mommy. I don't want to open my mouth. So you have to use other things. You have to be quite intuitive.
Honestly, I just found it so fascinating. And when you said as well about eating like a king in the morning, prince for lunch, and pauper for tea.
That's right, yeah. That's
I found that fascinating because, like, I've only just been told about fasting. You know, fast for as long as you can. So if you stop eating by 5 at night or 6 at night, and then try to go as long as you can till the next day till you start eating, can be really good for you. And then hearing you, so totally different.
Well, the thing is those practices are fantastic. They are great. They are great. And they do work. They're brilliant. They're really brilliant. Some people it can be really challenging for, because sometimes the body and the constitution of the person, because everybody is different, right? Not everybody is the same. So sometimes the constitution finds that very difficult to support. And so we just need different methods to be able to help to support them. That principle of eating like a king at breakfast and a prince during the daytime and then a pauper at night is a very old traditional concept. And that's based on the Chinese medicine clock. So in Chinese culture, they believe that at certain hours, your organs are stronger at certain hours. So for example, between the hours of 7 and 9 o'clock, your stomach is really strong, which means all the energy is in your stomach. So that means your stomach is very easy to digest food. So breakfast is a really important time, and it's the time when your body can digest food. So they say eat like a king at breakfast, and a king would eat things like meats and kind of, sorry if anybody out there is vegan, you know, but you know, really rich foods that are hard to digest. You can eat that during the morning because your stomach is strong. Now the opposite time is in the evening, and that's when your stomach is the weakest, so it's harder to digest food in the evening. And so that's why they say eat like a pauper at night. And a pauper would, in China, a pauper would eat rice soup or congee, yeah. Something very easy to digest, something that the body doesn't tax, because obviously you're going to sleep overnight, and whatever you put in, it's going to sit in your system. And if it doesn't digest, then in Chinese medicine, it turns to something called damp, and it kind of stagnates in your stomach, and then it has to go somewhere. So all this sort of rotten food is stagnating in your stomach overnight, and then it kind of processes in the morning, and you don't get the real nutrients out of it that you really should do. And over a long period of time, which is what we do in England, because we eat very late at night in England, and we eat like a bit of toast in the morning. I know, because I used to do that. I still do that actually sometimes. But if your stomach is weak, then that's not great to do that. If you have a strong stomach, you're born with a strong stomach, you can pretty much eat anything. Yeah, you can eat anything. But over time, if you do it, and obviously as we get older, over time, our system weakens, unless you're doing like Qi Gong and, you know, all these different amazing practices and yogas and things like that, and energy-based work, then you're gonna keep your life force energy going. But usually the average person, if they are just eating like that, if they do have a strong stomach, then over time they're going to weaken it, and then they'll find that they'll become intolerant.
Like,
so we get
a
a lot of
lot of
intolerances.
ladies have digestion problems, don't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah. But
And
it can
so
be an
that,
emotional thing too. Can be emotional.
yeah, of course.
You know, if you have a shock, or you have, you know, as human being, it's in our nature that we go through all these challenges in life. That's just how we're made, how we're built. And these sort of challenges bring about emotional changes. And if we are finding it difficult to manage those, then they affect our physical body.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the 5-element system, if you understand yourself deeply, you know what element you are, you understand yourself, it's easier when those times come. You know how to transition through them, you know how to address them. So learning a 5-element is really great for anybody, really. And learning the basic food principles, you know, like eat like a king and a prince, or try not to eat. Sometimes people are eating all the right things, but they sometimes not eating at the right time of day, or they're eating in a stressed environment, or they're not fully liking their food. And so when you really love your food and you like your food, no matter what it is, you kind of take the nutrients from it. So there are so many different factors.
Yes, that's another thing that you said about, and I think we all know that, whether we do it or not, but to really love the food, and as you eat it, you know, really appreciate it.
I was saying to you about that, the young person who was eating a fish, one of the children I was treating was eating just fish fingers. They would only eat fish fingers, and they're really strong, you know.
Love them. I mean, I'll be honest, Joe and I, a couple of years ago, found out about, I suppose I better not say the name, but there is a diet that you can do, and it's all packet food.
Oh yeah.
and it's all microwavable.
Oh.
So I didn't take it up, but Joe did, and he lost a lot of weight in a month. He lost an amazing amount of weight. And even last night he said, I think I'm going to do that again. I said, well, I severely, recommend you don't, but it's up to you. And he said, well, it's the only thing that, yeah. So, because I said about this eating like a king, Prince Pauper, shall we, give that a go? And
natural way to do it. It's a very holistic, natural, and I think if you try to do things like that in a natural way, I think your body will then, it takes more time because it's a natural process. When you do things that are natural, they take time.
yeah.
But I think in the long run, it's going to be more beneficial for your body, and also you can support yourself. So you want to be able to essentially support your own system. You don't want to rely on practitioners. We want you to look after yourself, and we want you to be healthy and strong. We don't want you to keep coming back. When people, obviously some people do come back on a regular basis because they're very poorly, but generally you want people to get better and to be able to look after themselves and manage their own energy. So you just need to give people the tools to be able to do that, and things like Qi Gong and the right sort of nutritional advice, lifestyle advice, things that are particularly good for someone's constitution. So for example, if they are a very fiery type of person, so their heart energy is slightly out of balance, you're going to recommend something like, okay, I think you need to work on meditation. This is a really important key for you. And you would give them some lifestyle advice in different areas. So the food that you would suggest would be heart-based foods, so things like beetroot, or foods that kind of help to nourish the heart, or teas that help to nourish the heart, like rose petal, and or some herbal treatments that naturally help. And herbal medicine is amazing as well.
I did say it was like self-love coming to see you, because I did a talk on Friday morning. I saw you Thursday, and then I did a talk on Friday morning, which we always do, an uplifting, high vibrational talk. And so I talked about how much health is coming to me at the minute from the universe, because I spoke with someone on Thursday night that's very much about trauma that brings on illness.
Yeah, okay.
How to realize that what we might not even realize is a trauma to the body is a trauma, and then realize that, and then you get a symptom from it. The symptom is healing, but we think it's the start of something illness wise. Anyway, that was very interesting. Then I had to didn't have to, but I was asked to speak to a chap in America.
Okay.
And that was all about health, very much about mind-body relationship. And I knew I was speaking to you today, and I think, wow, the universe really needs me to listen about my health at the minute.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important for everybody to acknowledge their well-being and try to help themselves in the way that best suits them. So different systems and different practices will resonate more with different people. So the Chinese system will resonate really well with some people, and the Ayurvedic and Indian system will resonate with other people. So when I started my journey, the martial aspect was like very deep inside my subconscious. So it was natural for me to go to that area. But actually, the more I'm becoming more open, I think I'm being much more encompassing different cultures and more our English culture. I think I spent most of my life following Chinese philosophy and culture, and it's led me back to my own. So that's a really beautiful thing, I think.
Very beautiful. Well, I loved the time I spent with you, and there was tears and there was laughter, and and it just makes you think about yourself. you know, more ever than you would perhaps usually. But it is self-love. And what we spend on holidays or I don't know why there seems to be a feedback. Oh no, it's stopped now. Yeah, holidays or, you know, vehicles, houses, but to invest in ourselves is really worthwhile, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you go to see a practitioner, you would, well, if you go out for a meal, nowadays, well, how much you gonna spend in a meal?
Exactly.
Yeah. So one meal is like one treatment or a
Yeah.
few treatments. Yeah. So I always say, you know, if you know, if you're at a stage where you need something like that in your life, it's really, really worth it. Your health is really important because your body is a vehicle. You know, you only have one body and it's got to last you,
Yes.
you know, good 100 years.
Yes.
In the old days, 220 years. So my friend told me.
No, I do believe that. I've heard even longer than that it used to be. Because if
In
you're
the
reading
old days.
your cells every week or month or, you know, then there's no reason why we should, you know, we just expect to get old, so we get old. We expect to get ill, so we get ill. You know, but
Exactly.
that should all
Mental.
mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's if you have some really good tools to look after yourself, they are like a precious gift. It's a precious gift. And then you can share with your friends. Once you know that, you know how to do that, you can share with your friends. You can show them how to look after themselves and how to nourish themselves and how to stay positive, and then you can fulfill your destiny, whatever that might be.
Can you just say what you said to me about Chinese tea to get the damp out of you?
Oh, yes. So when we explained earlier that, you know, if your digestive system is not functioning correctly, so it finds it difficult to digest food. And so you would come to an acupuncturist or herbalist to help to regulate your digestive system. And depending on how severe the condition is, or depending on what herbs you be given, you can take like lighter herbs to help your digestive system heal. So if your stomach and spleen are not working properly, they create like this muddy stuck water inside the body. It's a damp is a full condition, something that we don't really have a lot of knowledge of it in Western concept. We did in the old days, actually. When you look back through history and you look back to Greek times, they had the humors, they had damp and phlegm. That was definitely a concept. But now the thought paradigm has changed and we don't really have that concept. But in Chinese medicine, because they preserve their culture, because it's old world medicine that we're dealing with, the concept of damp in your body is really significant and still prevalent. So damp is a little bit like muddy stuck water inside the body, and it manifests as kind of like things like weight gain. And because the body is not digesting food, and it creates this muddy stuck water. So it can like make the body much larger and retain water, and it's makes you feel muzzy headed, and there's lots of different symptoms, but one of them is weight gain. So there are some really great teas that you can take which help you to get this damp out of your body. You need to do lots of other things as well. By just drinking tea, not going to be
No.
great. You have to do a lot of other stuff. You have to do exercise and you have to eat well. And I'm sorry, there's no like, you just drink this tea and you're going to lose weight. Yes, it does work like that, but in the long run, you need to look after your body holistically, like everything. But yeah, there are certain teas that you can drink which help to get damp out of your body. There are certain herbs that you can take. Sometimes the damp is really stubborn. It's really difficult to shift. And if a person has a very weak stomach, No matter how much damp you clear, still going to start producing it. And that's why sometimes people say, oh, I'm just eating salad all day long and I'm eating really healthily, but I can't shift any weight. Why is that? And I'm eating everything. I'm going to Weight Watchers and I'm doing all of it, and it's just not shifting. And why is that? And that's because the stomach and the spleen need to be strengthened over a long period of time so that it can transform food, and then it won't create damp and phlegm. Sometimes damp and phlegm doesn't always come from the stomach and spleen. Sometimes it comes from the kidney. Sometimes it comes from the heart. Sometimes it comes from the lungs. Sometimes it comes from other organs. So even though you're changing your food, doesn't necessarily mean that's where the damp's being produced from. And that's why 5-element is so important, because if you treat the person constitutionally, then you're treating the whole system, and then the person will start to feel better in themselves, and they'll start to lose weight, and they change their mindset. You know, maybe they're, oh, I don't want to eat hamburgers every day. You know, some people are doing that, and they're like, I can't lose weight. I can't change me eating all this very sweet food because I'm craving it, and I cannot psychologically stop myself from doing that. And if I strengthen the stomach and spleen, or it might not necessarily work. But if you change someone's mental processes through the 5-element system, then they make the decisions that they need to make to help them in the long run, help heal their bodies and their minds.
Well, this is so good of you to share all of this with us, Martine. You actually work in Wimborne and in Southampton, and it's not a plug. If your health, if you think this is a plug, it's no way. This is because it's helped me. But you can ignore all of it if you're watching this and thinking, oh no, we're going to play. It definitely is not. I thought it was amazing to see you the other day, and I really felt it was an act of self-love, and I'm definitely seeing you again, not this week, but next week, like not this coming week, but the week after. But yeah, and then the following, whenever I see you again, we'll be in Southampton rather than Wimborne, hopefully, if you've got the space. But yeah, honestly, I would highly recommend it, or anything like this. Acu and me having a fear of needles, but it was absolutely fine. You didn't know.
It's really funny because I also have a fear of needles
Yeah.
going into my body. Yeah. Well, I used to. That's why I like to treat children, because children, they also have a great fear of it. So, and it's quite, the needles are so tiny, and they're not like, it's not like, you know, people have really bad experiences when they go to hospital and they have blood taken, and that's a really invasive kind of treatment. And and you have that from a very young age, you know, with vaccines and things like that. So the body is defensive, naturally defensive. But you don't feel them really. And if you do feel them, then it's a good thing, because your body is changing and rebalancing, and you feel that. You don't just feel the needle, you feel the energy moving inside your body, which is for some people a really new experience. They feel, oh, sometimes when I treated animals before, you put the needle in, you know, my dog, I put the needle in, he has epilepsy. So I put the needle in and he goes, oh. He's like, oh, he feels the Qi. Oh, yeah, they feel the Qi. And the same with children, they're like, oh, they feel the Qi. And when you have acupuncture or energetic, sometimes you don't even put needles in. Sometimes you just put your hands on, you just do massage. You don't have to have that, you know, you can just do acupressure. You put your fingers on the points. And it's just when you put needle in, it goes into the blood level, so it has a really strong, for me, it has a very strong effect. And then you
I found it absolutely fine.
it's easy, it's fine.
Yeah, honestly,
I recommend it to anybody, yeah, wherever you are, you know, in the UK, you know, go and find an acupuncturist, 5-element acupuncturist, go and have some treatment, find out your constitution, go heal yourself.
So Martine is Wimborne, and can you just quickly say that story about how you found the Methodist church?
Oh yeah,
That was wonderful.
yeah. This is really cool. So, I had a big life change, and I moved home, and I moved to Fordingbridge, and I live in the country now, out in the wilderness with all the animals.
Lovely.
And I was thinking, where am I going to move my clinic? And I was treating from home a little bit, and I was thinking, gosh, I need this as my sacred space. I need to find somewhere to treat. So a friend suggested maybe Wimborne might be a good place. So I thought, okay, I'll go to Wimborne. So it was during New Year, and took my mum to the Wimborne Minster.
Wimborne Minster. Yeah, beautiful.
It's a beautiful church. I took my mum there with a friend. I took her there to listen to the carols. And it was a really moving experience, and I knew that I had to be somewhere near this big church. It's very spiritual. Actually, Wimborne was quite a spiritual place, and so I went there after New Year. I knew I had to find somewhere, and I thought it needs to be somewhere near this church. Is it in the church? Is it near the church? I have no idea. So I just standing around like in Wimborne, like, where am I supposed to go? I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Sometimes I feel like I'm drawn somewhere for a reason. You know, I have to go somewhere because I'm being emotionally, spiritually drawn somewhere. So I looked around, and then, I saw another church, like a cross all lit up. I thought, okay, I'll go there. So I walked over to I was drawn over to this other small church, the Methodist church. And when I walked through the door, there were all these people having tea, and it just seemed really, the energy seemed really clear and bright. And this lady came out to meet me, and she said, oh, hello, how can I help you? And I said, I don't know why. I said, I've been drawn here. I said, I'm an acupuncturist, I'm a herbalist, I'm looking for a place to treat. I'm looking to do charitable work because that's as part of my soul contract. I feel deeply that that's something that I have to do in my life. And I feel like I'm meant to be here. And I told her my journey, and I told her some things that are very deep inside my heart. And she said, yeah, that's it. She just said, yeah, this is the place for you, I think. And she asked me what I wanted, and then she took me up to a small room, which was one of the priest's office. She said, would this be great for you? I said, this would be perfect. And there's a huge cross like in the window, and it just felt so right. And it's a really beautiful space, and there are many people that need help there. And it's clear energy. It's clear, pure energy. Yeah. And then it was literally like, she almost gave me the keys there and then, just said, okay, yeah, you can just come and treat him. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So I think the people there are deeply spiritual as well, and they probably can feel, what you want to do. And yeah, and that was a real blessing. So
Honestly,
I found my home a little bit.
Beautiful space. When I went in there on Thursday, and that was only your second week there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my second day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely wonderful. I love, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Honestly. Well, I'll see you not this week, but next week, hopefully.
Yeah. You just tell me when you want to come, and then we'll book you in. And
marvelous. I'll email you in a minute. But it's pure BEI, isn't it? purebei.com.
Oh yeah, pure base. So pure, PURE, which is pure, and bay means like a a baby or innocence or pure love, pure, yeah, pureness, absolute pureness. That's what it means, pure babe. It's like a
And
kind
the
of
Bay is BEI, is it?
BEI, yeah,
Yeah.
pure babe, yeah, babe.
.com, and you'll find Martine and her team that she works with. And I know I said before we started, but that cushion behind you is just stunning.
Do you like this?
I do. I like both of them. Yeah. Oh, so lovely.
I'm a Leo,
Mm.
apparently.
That's why I bought Alice that cushion. I bought one like that for Alice because she's a Leo. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Lots of love. Thank you so much.
Big love to you. Yeah, you take care.
Thank you, anyone that's watching.
See you later, my lovely. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.